Are you ready? Stand by.
Hey everybody, I'm Dave Hartman, and welcome to the Three Gun Show. This is episode 223, where I go over the Big Ben Blast and Dash 3-gun running gun match that we held in Colorado at Ben Lomond Gun Club with match director Mike Griswold, and we discuss what we did right, what we did wrong, and what we can do better next time. This podcast is brought to you by IWI. Now, the IWI Galil Ace that I shot in the Red October Kalashnikov Championship, you'll hear in this podcast, I actually ended up shooting it in the run and gun as well. Now, this is not a small rifle. It's 10.2 pounds. So why did I choose to shoot this rifle? Well, it was kind of an accident, actually. So it was already set up and zeroed after the Red October Kalashnikov Championship. And between setting up for the match and other coordination things that we had to do, I just didn't have time to swap my Razor Gen 2E over to my lightweight rifle. So I just took out my Magpul sling, which had QD mounts in it, and I hooked it up to the rifle. The Midwest handguard that I put on there already had QD cups in there. The Dissonant Arms stock already had QD attachment points. So just put that bad boy on there and went for it. I was really worried about the long targets because we had targets out to like 420 yards, depending on where you engage them from. So pretty concerned about that one, but it actually turned out really well with the same ammo that I use in my 3-gun rifle. The only difference is I just had to hold like a little bit higher. So I was able to get a second round hit on the 420-yard target and in the first position, and then first round hits after that. So I was pretty pumped about that. So for a platform that most people think is like a close range, no accuracy sort of thing, the AK, right? The Galil is not that at all, and it actually was able to hit at 400 yards. So pretty pumped about that. Happy to prove it, especially under match conditions. Kind of wish I had to practice first, but that's how I roll. This podcast is brought to you by Breda USA, Italian shotguns that are the best in the world. And this is a shotgun tech tip from Team Breda. Hey, this is Dave Hartman from the 3-Gun Show, and I've got Josh Tanner here with Team Breda, and we've got a shotgun tech tip for you. Josh, what do you got?
All right, today we're going to talk about point of aim, point of impact change on a shotgun when you've run a lot of rounds down through the gun. So on a long shotgun stage where you've shot a lot of birdshot, the barrel will heat at a different rate than the ribs do, which can start to affect the point of aim, point of impact versus a cold gun. Now, I found that to be much less of an issue with these Breda shotguns, I think due to their barrel manufacturing process, but it's still important to go out and warm your shotgun up really, really hot, shoot a lot of rounds through it, and check and see what that point of aim, point of impact is different with a warm gun versus a cold gun.
All right, thanks, Josh. That's your shotgun tech tip from Breda Shotguns. Check out Breda's B12i 3-gun ready inertia-driven shotgun at BredaUSA.com. That's BREDA. Thank you for joining me here on the 3-Gun Show, the world's largest 3-gun podcast. This show is purpose-built for you to learn about practical shooting while you're on your commute at the gym or even at work. Every single Wednesday, there is a new episode waiting for you to download, listen to, and learn. So if you're into this kind of content, hit that subscribe button on your favorite podcast player. You can also join us on YouTube, which is where Mike and I recorded this one, and you can find the video replay there as well. Now on to this week's show. The Big Ben Blast and Dash was a match of many firsts. So this was a 3K and a 5K running gun that we held in Colorado. It was the first running gun held in Colorado. My first match as assistant match director, and possibly the first 3-gun running gun match. Not really sure about that last one, but as 3-gunners, we thought it was important to include the shotgun when designing this match, and you'll hear how that went in the podcast here. This was a really cool experience for me because it gave me an enormous appreciation for the amount of work and dedication that goes into a match. It was really fun working with sponsors, especially old friends like Vortex Optics, JP Rifles, LAG Tactical, Stoger, and many, many more. The other great thing is that we raised over $11,000 for charity, which is a pretty fulfilling sort of thing. So in this podcast, Mike and I are going to give you a behind-the-scenes rundown of the match. We talk about what we liked, what we would do differently, and what we're going to keep for next time. So enjoy this interview with Mike Griswold. Welcome, everybody, to the Three Gun Show. I'm your host, Dave Hartman, and with me today is match director of the Big Ben Blast and Dash, Mike Griswold.
How you doing, Dave?
I'm awesome, dude. It's great to see you. Thanks for coming back on the show here.
No problem at all. It's my pleasure.
Last time you were on the show, we were planning for the Big Ben Blast and Dash, the 5K run and gun that we just did here in Rama, Colorado. And now that it's over, I thought we'd talk about the match and what we did right, what we did wrong.
Both.
Lots of stuff, things we want to change for the next time, stuff like that. For people watching at home, we will be, we're broadcasting this live on, what's that thing called? YouTube. Broadcasting it live on YouTube. Mike's really up with the YouTubes here, so he's all pumped about that. And if you have any questions about the run and gun or match management or just any questions for Mike in general, go ahead and leave a comment there, and we'll get to them in a little bit here. But Mike,
Yes, sir.
it's been 2 weeks since the match is over now?
10 days or so,
10 days. Are you rested up?
Almost.
Almost?
I
I was surprised how much this took out of me, to be honest.
Yeah, it was a long 4 days at the range.
It was. So for people that don't know, that didn't do the match with us, we went out there on Wednesday
When it was snowing.
dropped my trailer off, get there Wednesday afternoon, everybody's kind of congregating, and it's cold as heck.
Yep.
It's like 38 degrees or something for
Muddy
the high
as
that
heck.
day. Muddy as heck, tons of snow on the ground, and we were a little nervous.
Yeah. It had us wondering if we're going to make it or not.
Yeah. So then, so Thursday setting up. Well, we did some setup that day, obstacles and things like that.
Yep.
I ran into town to talk to one of the match sponsors, Danger Lee Industries, and then we did a lot of coordination that night. And then Thursday was when we did like the meat of the work,
Yep.
putting stages on the ground.
I think we got 7 stages up on Thursday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
7 stages up on Thursday, which is absolutely incredible
Yep.
to think about. Plus all the obstacles that we put down as well.
Yeah, it was a lot of work.
Yeah, and luckily the weather had warmed up to 44 degrees as a high that day.
At least it wasn't snowing.
Yeah, at least it wasn't snowing. And, for large part, it didn't even get out of the 30s. And when you're setting up for a run and gun match that you've been planning since like June, when it's like nice and hot and running weather,
Yeah.
it was a little disconcerting. I was a little worried about that.
I was very worried how muddy it was going to be.
Yeah.
Yep.
What are those thoughts going through your head? Because you seem to keep a pretty level head through the whole time for the whole setup there.
Trying people not to get hurt, for one thing.
Well, you kept it optimistic though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to.
Yeah. So you said like, okay, well, this Saturday we're gonna have good weather.
Yeah.
And do you remember what your deal with the crew was?
I remember my deal. Luckily, it didn't get there.
What was your deal, Mike?
Well, I told my crew that if it hit 60, I'd wear a thong.
I speak for everyone when I say I'm glad it didn't hit 60 that day, but it was close, man.
I got like 58.
Yeah, during the RO run, it got to 58 degrees. So
Yeah.
Friday, we finished setting up in the morning. Afternoon, we had a couple guys that were there to run the match during the RO match that couldn't make it on Saturday for whatever reason, so they came to run it with us and be guinea pigs.
Yep.
And it did, man. It got up to like 58 degrees. I ended up running in shorts that day.
Yeah, it was nice. It was perfect running weather.
Yeah, which was a total trip because, the day before, when we're setting up, like I had to take my my army blanket that I have in the back of my truck for emergencies and stuff, spread it out on the passenger seat, and put my dog in the passenger seat with the heat on because he was shivering so much from like running around on the range. He was freezing his butt off.
Yeah. It was wet and cold.
Yeah, it was wet and cold. But the parts that really sucked about the wetness was when you were trying to drive into the berm to drop off some targets or something, and all of a sudden you sink down like 5 inches.
Yeah.
Like, shit. We're going to have to get the tractor.
Yep. Yeah, some of the berms were a little muddy. Most of them were okay, though.
Yeah. Yeah, so we got everything set up, and we did run the RO race on Friday and the full match on Saturday. We had some amazing competitors that, while you and I and Chris Eggleston, our stats dude, we're figuring out prizes and who won and how we're going to be doing the award ceremony and stuff. They tore down the entire match.
Tore down the whole match, put everything away. It was awesome.
Yeah, we got really lucky in that because Sunday it was like high of 20 degrees and like 100% chance of snow.
It was snowing.
Yeah. Well, here in Denver, it was snowing pretty good too. We got a couple inches, but out of eastern Colorado, man, you know, people, when they think of Colorado, they think like, you know, oh, we're in Denver, so we're like in the middle of mountains and we, you know, ride snow sleds to work and shit like that. And I blame Monday Night Football because every time I watch it, I'm like, there is nowhere in Colorado that looks like that. But they make it look like the, you know, Mile High Stadium is right in the middle of the mountains,
yeah.
You know, but that's not the truth. We're kind of like the high plains. And once you get out like eastern Colorado, it's like Kansas, right? There's hardly any trees to block the wind or anything. So when the snow gets moving and the wind gets whipping, you get like these huge drifts and it can be kind of treacherous out there.
Yeah, it could be a mess.
Yeah. So we got lucky we didn't have to deal with all that during the race. 2 beautiful days.
2 gorgeous days.
Yeah.
Right in the middle.
Exactly. Well, Mike, let's talk about how the Big Bend Blast and Dash came to be. Should we tell the story? We just got our story straight here before we went started. We both remember this the same way. So why don't you start?
Well, I believe it was 2 or 3 years ago at one of our local matches. Mm-hmm. I came up to you because I knew you were doing some obstacle type racing, and I was kind of like, wouldn't it be cool to combine these two into a run and gun obstacle 3-gun match? And you were like, heck yes, let's do it.
Yeah, I think my exact words were like, you build that match and I'll come shoot it. No, but that is it's definitely something that, you know, I recognized as being unique and something fun and something we've definitely never done here in Colorado before.
Yeah.
Since then, I've done like a run and gun in Texas. There were not a whole lot of obstacles. There were some physical things that were involved in the during the stages. But man, looking at the pictures from Rock Castle and some other races, like you got guys like climbing, you know, they're going down hills or crossing rivers, climbing up hills on the other side, big, huge conduit pipes to crawl through. What is it? They're like a come along that you have to traverse like a, I don't even know, like some of them are just crossing a road or whatever.
Yeah.
Some of them have look like they have kind of big falls, but running guns kind of get into a little bit of the obstacleness. But we thought, well, with our range, you know, where we had to do it, it's kind of flat, kind of berm-like. There's not really a whole lot of terrain features. There's some, but we knew that we would have to build obstacles too.
Yeah,
and that's where we came through with like monkey bars. We had walls to climb, Atlas stones, sled drags, and so leading up to this, you actually ran a Spartan race as well.
Did the Spartan race in May down at Fort Carson.
What was that like, Mike?
It was a killer.
Yeah.
I think it was a 12K.
So this was your first Spartan race, your first
Spartan race,
obstacle race.
First Spartan obstacle race.
Was this your first like run?
I've done some local 5K stuff.
Okay.
But no obstacles.
All right.
It was a learning experience, lots of burpees.
And so you went out and instead of doing the 5K or what they call the sprint, which is about 5K. I've run them where they're like 5 miles. I'm running some that are like 3.5 miles, but it's about a 5K.
Yeah.
So instead of doing that, you skipped all the way
to the super,
which is, how long did you say it was?
It was like 12K.
And how many obstacles?
God, like 20 obstacles.
Yeah.
And I competed probably half of them.
Oh, really?
So yeah, there was like probably 200 burpees involved too.
Yeah, and for those of you listening at home that have not done like a Spartan race, they're really fun, first of all. But if you fail an obstacle, if you fail to complete an obstacle, your penalty is 30 burpees.
30 burpees.
And you only get one try.
Yeah.
So we thought about putting that in this match, didn't we?
We did. We talked about it for maybe 5 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it started being like, well, we'll just do a 30 burpee penalty to, we'll do like 10 burpee penalty. Like, maybe on this stage we'll do burpees. To finally it was like, dude, we're going to have so many backups of people doing burpees. We just better not do this at all.
Yeah. It's tough to do burpees when you got a rifle and a pistol hanging off you. So
yeah. Can you imagine the barrel whacking you in the back of the head as you're doing a burpee?
Yeah.
Yeah, it would not be fun. So, okay. So we talked about this and like, yeah, that'd be something interesting. And then it never really kind of caught wings and flew. And then somewhere in there, I think we were talking about that after I started the 3 Gun Show. And then I went on like this 2-year trip around the country and shooting matches and stuff. So I wasn't really around. We couldn't do it. Came back last season, and I want to say it was the last match of last year.
Possibly.
That we talked about this.
Match.
Yeah. And I was like, hey, dude, I'm going to be back for a while. Why don't we do this running gun thing? And you were like, all right, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Yeah, so the great news is that, okay, so you're match director for Big Ben 3 Gun, which is the match here in Colorado that's done at Ben Lamont Gun Club. Which,
local match.
Yep, club match has now become my home range too, member there. And since I left, you've got like this amazing crew of dudes that help you on every match. You've got Brian Brandow.
Yep.
You've got Evan Wyrick and Guy Dreyer.
Yep.
And those guys are always there for you, running the match, doing setup, stage designs, logistics, all this good stuff. So you have like a solid crew.
Very good crew. Couldn't do it without them.
Yeah. Did that play into your decision to say, yeah, let's do this match?
Oh yeah, I checked with them first. Just
did
to
you?
make sure.
Yeah, let's do it. But let me ask Brian and Guy and Evan.
It's a lot of work.
It is a ton of work.
It was more work than I thought.
Yeah, it was way more work than I thought it was going to be as well. And we're very fortunate that we had those dudes. And I got lucky because I just came in and did whatever Dave does, and you guys handled all the stuff that you guys do well, and I think it worked out pretty well.
Worked out very well.
Yeah, it did. And then we had my buddy Wade Jones come in and help us with obstacles and things like that, because that's like his shtick. It's his gig, is doing obstacle races. Does like, I think he's down to like 10 a year now.
Jeez.
Yeah. But yeah, but when we were before I started the 3 Gun Show, we were doing that a lot. Like we've gone to Vegas. What's the God? What is that resort town in Utah? But we did Park City.
Okay.
We did a super in Park City. We did the Beast in Breckenridge. We went all over doing them.
Yeah.
And Wade's been to way more places than I have too. He ran a race in Austin and a couple in Ohio. So yeah, lots of experience there. So we had a lot of people to help us out with that.
It was nice having Wade, because he kind of told us, that's a little bit too much, and kept us in line.
Yeah, it was great, because he was kind of looking at it from like a third party, like once removed, like just the next step up of, well, from my perspective and my experience with obstacle racing, how is this going to apply to your race and keeping the flow?
Yeah.
Right. And then Wade had done that We Defy running gun with me in Texas, which was he ran the 20K division because he's insane. And I thought the 762 division was a long time, but so he and Brandon Stocker ran the 20K division. And so he had perspective on that as well. Yeah. So really got a lot of help with that. And then we started planning.
Yeah. We went out to range several times and laid out different maps and figured out where we're going to go and obstacles.
And somewhere along the line, I want to say this was like March or April, we figured out like, well, we don't really know what are the best practices of a running gun? Like, how do we score this thing? You know, we kind of started having like these realizations of like, oh, this isn't just going to be us playing in the dirt. There's going to be 100 people here.
It's like running 3 different races.
Yeah.
You know, you have the running, you have the obstacle part, you have the wait time, and then you have the shoot time.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot of moving parts. And we decided to be rogues and throw in, since we're 3 gunners, and we threw in the shotgun as well.
Yeah.
And running guns are traditionally rifle and pistol. So we added that whole new kink in there for our first match, which might have been a little too much, but I think it worked out all right. But we decided, hey, let's ask someone we know that has done a lot of these matches, that has held a lot of these matches, what we should do.
Yeah.
And we leaned really hard on Cody Allenbaugh.
Uh-huh.
He helped us with rule set. We ran ideas behind him, and he helped us with flow and ideas to mitigate backups, and just like top to bottom, everything you could think of, he helped us out with.
Yeah. He answered every question we had.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing. And like on a weekly basis too.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was fantastic. Unfortunately, Cody had to work that weekend, so he wasn't able to come to the race. Really wanted him to come, and I wanted to get the Cody seal of approval on the race.
Yeah, it would have been nice to have him here, but work comes first. So
Yeah, I guess. And then practice score.
practice score was a huge help.
Yeah. So we were trying to figure out with Cody, like, how do you score this thing? And I think that was like one of the last questions that we asked him in the podcast, in the previous podcast that we did. And if you're, if you want to listen to that one too for some backstory, just go to 3gunshow.com, search for Cody, and it'll come up. But that was like one of the last questions we asked him. It was like, okay, so how do you score this? And he started, telling us about this chalkboard he has and the sundial and how you record people's scores, and then you put them in this spreadsheet that Tim made on Windows 97. And I was like, holy shit. And so I thought, like, I will not do this unless we can do it on practice score. And I reached out to DJ from practice score, who I know has done a ton of matches at Rock Castle. So he's familiar with like the run and gun format. I'm like, hey, this seems to be taking off. There's people doing it at Rock Castle all the time.
Are you planning something?
Are you guys planning something? And so they practice score. Russell Armstrong and the other rest of the people on the team there created a run and gun module in practice score. It has your start time, your finish time, your wait time, your stage time. Does all the math behind the scenes, and you don't have to worry about a thing.
It was a huge help.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine doing it without it.
No.
Yeah.
No. I remember the run and gun that we did was before practice score, so they were doing complex equations on Excel, and I remember just looking at Jeremy Moore's face, and I was like, dude, that guy does not look happy. This looks like it's a pain in the ass.
It'd be a lot of stress trying to get all that done and try to do a prize table at the end. It's next to impossible.
Yeah. Well, and with that match, I think we waited a couple hours after we were done shooting, but I don't think there was a result. I think they had to email it out later that evening.
Yeah.
So practice scores made it so much easier.
Yeah, huge shout out to those guys. They really came through.
Yeah, very grateful for what they did for not only us but the shooting community, but we benefited from that. So
yeah, I think we were the second match to run that module.
Yep,
from what I understand.
Yeah, I think Matt Stennett's match and at Rock Castle was the first one to do it. I think it was Legion Run and Gun, if I'm remembering that correctly. And then we ran them.
Yeah,
yeah,
and not a glitch.
Not a glitch. No, we actually had one error.
That was our fault,
and it was a human error.
Yeah,
yeah. When you hear people complain about practice score and how they prefer paper and stuff, looking at you, Rocky Mountain 3-gun, this is the problem that they complain about. Well, there was an error in there. It's like, yeah, someone entered the time wrong.
Yeah.
So what happened was they gave one of our guys, instead of a 5-minute wait time, he had a 50-minute wait time. So they just slipped on the decimal and hit the 0 instead. And that 50-minute wait time was enough to give him like a 13-minute run time. So he ran the 5K? 5K, 13 minutes. Good on him for the stage win, or for the match win. But yeah, so once we got that figured out, we got the scores all worked out. But it worked out pretty well.
Worked out real well.
Yeah. So since this is kind of I'm just kind of running through what we did here, and then we'll get into the specifics that we were talking about. But since this was first year match, we're kind of calling it like a mini major, right? And we figured like cap it at 100 people, $100, and I think we had 80.
79.
Right? 79, not including you and I.
Correct.
So 81 total. Excuse me. So we had 81 total racers for our first year, which is pretty good.
I was happy with that. And that's, honestly, we were, with daylight hours, we were right on.
Yeah.
I opened it up to 100 shooters, and then after looking at time and figuring it out, I dropped it down to 85 because that was going to be max.
Yeah.
And get done before dark.
Well, and the RO match that we ran, you and I ran last because of some last minute things that we had to do. And Guy ran with us in that heat. And
Guy passed you, right?
Yeah, son of a bitch. Yeah, Guy passed me. So you almost passed me, but I fended you off. You were 10 minutes behind me and you almost passed me. So, so Guy finished first. I finished second. You finished third in that last heat of the RO match. But I was running back to the clubhouse without my eye pro on because it was that dark.
It was that dark.
Yeah, my sunglasses had now turned into no glasses. But when I was running back, I was thinking to myself, like, oh shit, like whatever time I started, we have to start people at least 45 minutes before that tomorrow.
Yeah.
And luckily, like our squad matrix and the number of shooters we had just worked out where we had sun even up to 2 hours after we finished.
Yeah. Well, the last shooter left, what, at 2:45, 2:50? Yeah.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah.
I think it was 2:45.
Yeah.
And that was like the perfect time too.
Mm-hmm.
And what we did, I guess I'm kind of jumping ahead here. We'll back up to that as far as like the runners, the time in between runners. I want to touch on that. But the thought I wanted to finish, since this is a mini major, and like we figured mostly it's going to be our local dudes and gals shooting it, right?
Uh-huh.
So we wanted to do a prize table for them because a lot of people shoot club matches and that's it.
Uh-huh.
And we figured if we can talk them into like the next little level above a club match, they can get like an idea of what it's like to shoot a bunch of stages in like an event type atmosphere that's exciting. You know, it's not just like your normal Saturday shoot until 2:00, go home, apologize to the wife because it really ended at 4:00 and you know, that sort of thing. So we wanted to get people a taste of that. And so we decided to put together a prize table.
Uh-huh.
And so we reached out to tons of amazing people that we know in the industry. We made some new friends as well. And we put together a prize table and we did it as modified random draw.
Yep.
And the method for modified random is...
It's complicated.
It is complicated. And we're going to fix the complication on that one because after not eating all day and standing in the sun, and then the 4 days leading up to that when we were working, I was having trouble figuring the math out. But no one was shouting at me, so I figured it must be right.
Yeah. They thought it was right.
Yeah, exactly. So the way it worked was you get one ticket, and again, it's modified random draw, so we didn't buy tickets. One ticket for entering the match.
Entering the race.
And then you get one ticket for completing the race.
Yep.
And then you get one ticket for each bracelet that you have on your wrist.
Yeah.
Which is this right here.
And if you start with 3 bracelets.
Start with 3.
Lose a bracelet if you can't do an obstacle.
Right. And that was a concession we made over the burpees.
Yeah.
Right. I was like, oh, well, let's, if someone can't complete the obstacle, maybe they have a physical limitation and 30 burpees might actually kill them. So we probably shouldn't do that. So yeah, we did these Vortex Optics bracelets like I'm wearing right here. And Vortex was cool enough to give us those. So we put out 3 on each runner, and then they had 3 strikes and you're out, right?
Yep.
And so you have to have at least one bracelet to be eligible for the prize table.
Correct.
And our runners did really well on that. So then first place in each division got 5 additional tickets. Second place got 3 tickets.
3 tickets.
And third place got 1 additional ticket.
Yep.
Right. So you can see like it is random draw, but the people that finished the highest did have the most chances.
Yep. Better
right?
chance of winning.
Better chance of winning.
Yep.
Yeah. And the way we did it was you could also win more than one prize.
Yep.
So and that actually showed too, because people that did well in the match won many prizes.
Yeah. It worked out pretty good.
Yeah, I thought it worked out really well.
Yeah.
So we did send out a survey to the runners. We'll find out what they thought about it and if we need to change course for next year. But I thought it went pretty well. Seemed like a pretty equitable way of doing it. The good thing about that type of format is that we could do a format where you pick up a prize off the table, like you and me, you know, because we're standing in front of everybody with a microphone. Pick up a prize off the table, and we would say, hey, this is the Grimm Brothers Brewhouse Lemon Radler Maiden's Kiss. It's delicious, and the winner is, and then we could read it off, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of times with prize tables, a lot of people don't see everything that's on the prize table. And some, they don't give you like a preview where you can go walk or anything, so you never see the contribution that comes before your place.
All these companies put out.
Yeah. So the reason that we chose to do it that way and, you know, hold up each item and then raffle it up, or then call the number, was now everybody who's here which was all of our competitors minus one guy who was bedtime or something. They got to see everything that was put on the table. So they got to see all of LAG Tacticals, Contribution, Vortex Optics, Carbon Arms, everybody.
Yep, JP Rifles.
JP Rifles.
Yep.
Yep. There's a ton of people, and we'll name in just a moment here. So what did you think about that method of doing the prize table?
Well, I like the idea. My main goal at the match was try to get everybody a prize.
Mm-hmm.
And it worked good as far as getting the people that finished in their division better, had a better chance at winning. So to me, it was good and a little bad, but mostly good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I agree with you on it didn't really accomplish everybody get something.
Yeah.
But I feel like the vast majority of people got something.
They did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We should also mention at this time that before the match, I consulted with several friends who are match directors, and I asked them, like, what do you think about staff shooting? What do you think about staff being eligible for prizes? What do you think about staff being eligible for medals? And the general consensus was, even if you do everything 100% above the board, then it could be called into question what you did.
Yeah.
Right? And so what we chose to do was remove ourselves, you and me, from medals, from prizes, from the results. We were in there for the RO match, and then we were deleted out of there.
Yep.
We didn't have any tickets in the bucket. It was all for the rest of the people.
Correct.
No one else handled any prizes. It was just you and me the whole time. So no one else drew a number or anything. It was just us.
Yep.
So do you feel like that was enough to make everything completely above the board?
I think so, yeah.
Think we could have done anything different?
No.
No?
None of that aspect, no.
Cool. I think we did all right there.
Yeah.
I think it turned out.
Yeah.
At least I haven't heard any complaints.
Everything I've heard is positive, which is a good sign.
I know. Well, I'm kind of worried. I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. But like, if you only ever hear good stuff, you're like, okay. Well, I hope everything's all right.
Yeah.
You know? So it's kind of rare for, especially in this day of the internet, for us to do something and then not have any sort of negative feedback. So we'll see from the survey, Mike.
Yeah. We'll see what the Survey Monkey says.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So we talked about the match. We talked about the putting it on the ground. It was really cold doing it. It's warm when we ran it. Great for the competitors.
It was a beautiful day.
And then the competitors really saved our behinds in tearing everything down for us, so we didn't have to do it in the snow the next day, which I'm super happy about.
Yeah.
Also means I got my taxes done, which were due Monday. So thank you, competitors.
Yep.
Yeah. So let's talk about the RO match. So we're basically guinea pigs. We're sending guinea pigs through the maze here and seeing how they come out on the other end. Now I was an RO for the first heat. We had 3 runners in the first heat, right?
Yeah, it was Seeley, Hoser, and who was the other guy?
Was it Craig?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was Craig, wasn't it?
Yeah. Your brother Craig.
Yep.
The other guy.
Yeah, the other guy. My little brother.
Your little brother. Yeah, your little brother you got to look up to. Yeah, so those guys ran through the first heat. And as I was ROing, I noticed a couple things. Did you RO that first heat, or was
no, I did. I RO'd Craig.
Did? Okay. Yeah. So as you were ROing Craig, did you notice anything about the course? Anything that stood out to you?
Well, we went over this with Cody. One of the biggest problems is marking the course out to everybody stays on it. And I felt the ROs had a good idea where the course was at, and that worked out okay, but it still could have used a little bit more marking probably.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So when I ran it myself, I actually ran off the course. And I don't know how I could have, because Craig and I went out and marked it with Don, right?
Yeah.
I forgot. Don Cruz.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, I think so.
And so, yeah, Cruz, like Terry Cruz.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how I remember it. Yeah, so we went out and marked the course, and we had like survey flags, we had streamers, and we had a few signs. We did the best like with what we had.
Yeah, we had like 50 cones and 150 survey markers.
Yeah. exactly.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh man, I got to tell you something funny about the cones. So I thought that we did as good as we could. But me personally, when I got done with that first stage on the berm, I just started proceeding up the berm instead of running off.
Running down to the fire
Running
pit.
down to the fire pit, yeah, and back. And luckily someone was there to shout at me, but and it's funny because I did that after I had RO'd Hoser. So I had already told Hoser, run down to the fire pit and back, and and then I screwed it up myself.
You jumped over the cones and kept on going.
Yeah, I did. Like, why are all these cones in the way? And then just run on. But it's kind of funny. So the speaking of cones, so you used to autocross, right?
Uh-huh.
You and Tommy, your son Tommy.
Mm-hmm.
So when a cone's lying down, what does that mean?
Means turn.
Means turn, right?
Yeah.
So I thought I was all clever because we have like all these cones here. So I'm going to put cones on each berm because we have basically 2 large berm areas.
Uh-huh.
And one had 3 stages, one had 3 stages, one had 2 obstacles, one had 2 obstacles, right?
Yeah.
So I thought it's going to be pretty freaking obvious where the stages are.
And where the obstacles are at.
Yeah. So for the obstacles, I thought we needed to mark them, like throw a little cone. So I laid a cone down, right? And I'm like, oh, that's awesome because the cone points the way. So I was telling everyone, and then on race day, I was telling everyone that at the start line, there's a cone lying down. It's telling you to go somewhere, And so I'm like, okay, that'll be easy to figure out. And then I can't remember if I was talking to Wade or Guy after the race, but he's like, yeah, first old dude that was out there on the course, first volunteer, set up all the cones. It's like,
Somebody knocked a cone over.
Where are all these effing cones lying down? I'm going to set them up. So I'm standing there at the starting line telling people, like, just look for the cones that are lying down, and that's where the next obstacle is, and all the cones are sitting up.
Cones aren't lying down.
Yep. So
yeah,
maybe we need better communication next time.
Yeah.
Or nail those effers down. So I thought that was kind of funny. But so when I was ROing Hoser, one of the first things I noticed was the first run that we did. All right. So this is Eastern Colorado. It's air quotes flat, right?
Yeah.
When you're driving, it's flat. But when you're running it, there's hills.
There's uphill.
Yeah. So the first run that we did was out and around our like black powder shoot house sort of thing. I covered awning kind of thing. Shooting position. How about that? And then down up onto the targets. There were some ammo cans up there that you had to pick up, take around the big white buffalo and put them back down. By the way, only half the buffalo was white. And I can't tell you how many people were like, well, that buffalo wasn't white. Did you see any other buffalo out there? That was the one I was referring to. It's the only buffalo.
Yeah.
Well, that one's not white, but I don't know if I should run around that. Dave said white buffalo. Well, its butt's white. Come on, half of it's white.
Yeah, it's been shot a few times.
It's been shot a few times for sure. Yeah. Anyway, so that target area is on a hill.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look like much of a hill.
It don't look like much of a hill from where you're at the clubhouse, does it?
Until you're running it. And then it's like, okay, yeah, this is definitely a hill. So I didn't have time to put my scope on my lightweight rifle that I was going to bring. So I shot with my Galil, which was a 10-pound rifle, which was awesome, by the way. And
that's why I almost passed you.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll blame that. So that was a little bit rough having 10 pounds of Galil on my back. But going up that hill, I was like, holy shit, this is a little bit rough.
Yeah, especially after 3 days of setup. It was kind of like, who the heck thought of this?
I know. I was immediately angry with myself for putting that there because if you'll recall, like my whole thing in setting this whole thing up was like, we need more running in between stages. We need more running in between obstacles. Like that's what I constantly kept saying. And so I really won on the start there. And we had a pretty big run. It was like 0.3 miles up to the first obstacle and then like 0.2 miles down. So it was a half-mile run.
Yeah.
But that I thought was really important for spreading people out, the faster runners, and the slower runners and stuff. And it worked as designed, but holy shit, when I was running it, I was like, oh God, this is too much.
Yeah.
This is terrible.
Yeah. After that, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, after
it
that, it
seemed
was
like
fine.
it flowed pretty good. Then, of course, it was all downhill.
Yeah. Well, after that, like that's the worst hill on the whole thing, and it's the very first one you go on. Like, it's not gonna be so bad. But yeah, so then when I was running with Hoser, a couple things that I noticed was that sled drag. We were like, okay, let's do a 90-pound sled drag on like a steel frame. And I thought it was kind of funny because we thought, oh, we'll do 100. And I'm like, well, if you're doing plates, just do 2 and it'll be 90. And you're like, oh yeah, that sled probably weighs like 10 pounds or something. But that sled looked like it weighed more than 10 pounds.
It's probably more like 20, 25.
Yeah, it was a husky sled for sure. And so yeah, people got their bonus on that one. But dude, that dragging on like the compacted sand that had just been wet several days before.
It's like a suction.
It was like a suction, and that thing dragged. And if you chose the wrong one and you dragged it through a bunch of mud to go like around a cone a goofy way or something, you were hating life because that thing dug into the mud.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I noticed when I was running with Hoser.
That's why when I ran it, I chose the other sled.
Me too. Me too. And that's when I started thinking about RO advantage in setting up a match, which we'll talk about in a minute here because that's one of our things that we have down. But the other thing I noticed is that one of our stages we thought, okay, well, it'll be a fun little, since this is an obstacle race, let's have someone reset their own poppers. Would you do that again?
I think so. I thought that was fun.
Yeah?
I thought it like you said, it spread the people out a little bit, spread the shooters out, and yeah, it worked good, I thought. What'd you think?
Good. Well, so my big concern is always backups. And I was on the start line letting all the runners go, so I didn't get to see if there was any backups on that stage specifically. But I could imagine that people would be tired at that point and take forever to reset their targets. However, I thought it was a good idea before I actually executed it.
Tell us why, Dave.
There's a shitload of poppers out there. What was there like? There was 6, 8, 10 poppers. And
think 8 poppers.
Was there 8?
8, yeah. 6 in the front and 2 in the back.
Oh, okay, yeah. So there was 8 poppers, but they weren't.
By the way, the RO shot it. They had to reset all 8. We changed it to 6 for the for the shooters
because it didn't. There was no flow to it, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't like you get the left side and the right side. You had to get the left side, the back, then the right side, then Yeah, so that part didn't work out very well. I didn't like that so much. So we removed 2 of the poppers for the competitors, which seemed okay.
Yeah. We had the RO set those.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, that was interesting. The funny thing that I thought on the obstacle right before that stage. So this was after. So again, we had a 3-gun match. So this is after we picked up our shotguns, which were staged.
Mm-hmm.
So you go and shoot a 9-round slug stage, which was awesome.
It was fun.
That was a pretty cool one. Yeah, for only having 3 shooting positions and 3 slugs from each position, it was actually a pretty cool stage.
Yeah.
But then you go immediately into the next bay, and it's a low wire crawl.
Yeah.
And I thought that was hilarious. I didn't even notice it when Hoser did it, but when I did it, I was like, oh man, I just put on all my shotgun caddies and now I've got a low barbed wire crawl to go through. And I'm walking through it. I swear I'm like picking up all of Craig's lost shotgun shells like Easter eggs. I came out of there with like another 8 shotgun shells. It was awesome. And then so then you go shoot the next stage where you reset your poppers, and then you go pick up an Atlas stone, which for people that don't know is just a sphere of concrete.
Yeah.
And for the dudes, ours weighed 60 pounds. For ladies, we told them it weighed 30 pounds, but it actually weighed 40 pounds.
Yeah.
I think we painted over the number that said 40. It looked like 30. But yeah, so you pick up the Atlas stone, and you have to carry it like your waist, like with your arms long or whatever. And again, like right on the shotgun shell caddies that you just put on there. So you're like bumping them and stabbing yourself and knocking shotgun shells out.
That's why you got to have a chest rig.
Yep. Totally. I got all smart and thought like, oh, you just use my chest rig on that last stage and I'll use my belt stuff for the first 2 stages. And no, I regretted that. Ended up with a bunch of shotgun shells on the ground.
Yep.
Yeah, nice bruises from where I pinched myself in between the caddies and the Atlas Stone, which was awesome. Yeah, so and then I think other than that, when I was running Hoser, it was pretty smooth.
It went pretty smooth.
Yeah.
A few hiccups, but pretty smooth, I thought.
Yeah. And then the next guys ran pretty smooth, and then we ran.
Yeah. Bless you.
Excuse me. So, Mike, when you've got me first, we've got Guy second, and I knew that Guy was going to overtake me, which was why we did that, to see what the wait time would be like, see if we could do like a little bit of an experiment, and then you after that. So when they give you the go, what's going through your mind?
Go.
Yeah?
Just go.
Just go? That's
Just
it?
go. Yeah. What about you?
So I was like, oh, this isn't bad. And, because we're running downhill for like that first 150 yards.
Yeah.
And then you get on that uphill in the target area we were just talking about. And that's where I was like, oh, this is stupid. This is dumb. Why do I do shit like this?
I got up to the Buffalo. I was wondering, man, who thought of this?
Yeah. Yeah, that was crazy. So when you get up there, there's the ammo can carry. And I'm thinking about it the whole way up there. I'm like, God, those ammo cans are freaking heavy, because we just put steel targets in there,
we
right?
put 8-inch knockover targets inside the ammo cans.
Yep, 8-inch Rocky Mountain targets, knockover targets. We threw those in there. By the way, Mike runs Rocky Mountain targets, for those of you who don't know. So, yeah, we threw those in there, and they were pretty heavy.
They were pretty heavy.
Yeah.
We never weighed them, but they were probably 40 pounds each.
Yeah, at least. And then I don't remember what the ladies were, but they were. How many did you put in the ladies' ammo cans?
I think there was 4 or 5 targets in the ladies.
4 or 5, yeah.
Yeah, so it was probably 20, 25.
Those are heavy too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you had to pick them up, take them around the Buffalo, and put it back. So immediately when I got to the top of the hill, I had 2 thoughts. When I saw where all the ammo cans were, I was like, oh man, they didn't put the start box where I marked. But the second thought I had was, oh, good, it's half the distance to the Buffalo. Thank God I don't have to carry them that far. So yeah, I picked those up and go around, and then it was pretty much a breeze from there. But that sled drag was tough. The first stage, like I thought, reviewing all the stage designs, and I didn't really see them all put on the ground, but I saw a lot of them put on the ground. I thought I had like the procedure in my head, and I didn't.
Huh?
No, I didn't at all. It's like, when I was RO and Hoser, I ended up having to run around with the stage packet on my phone just to make sure he was doing it correctly, because you don't read a stage brief or we didn't read stage briefs in this match.
Yeah.
The other thing is, my mind is so conditioned just to get in and walk right into the starting area that I forgot, which is weird because I came up with this. I forgot that as soon as you step in the starting area, you get standby and the beep. So half the time I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
But I had indicated that I was ready by standing in the box.
Yeah.
Did you do that too?
Oh, no.
No?
I had it all planned out.
Oh.
10 seconds off your run time is a lot different than 10 seconds off your shoot time.
Yeah, for sure.
Huge.
For sure. Yeah, so there is some strategy that goes into it, because we had rules on when you could unsling your rifle.
Yeah.
So if you're going to, like, say, a rifle stage, you want to have like your rifle in your strong hand and your PMag in your weak hand, because when you get that beep, you can now make ready and shoot. Yeah. Or you can load and shoot, right?
Yeah.
So we eliminated the make ready and the are you ready from it, just for expediency's sake, and we did all unloaded starts.
All unloaded starts at all 3 guns.
Yeah. What did you think about that?
Well, for run and gun, I think you almost have to, and to save on the wait time and everything, it take up too much time to go through all the make ready, and it worked good. Yeah. But you gotta plan for it too.
You do.
You don't step in the box until you're ready.
Yep. Yeah, and so after that, after me screwing that up twice, when I would step in the box, I would have like my hand on my pistol and another hand like holding a magazine.
Uh-huh.
And when I got the standby and the beep, I would just and go to work.
Go to work.
I figured it out about halfway through. But yeah, it was hard because you're just so conditioned after doing hundreds of matches just to step in the box and get your make ready.
Yeah, go through your stage plan and get ready. And, we had the stage designs out to everybody, but the shooters had no idea what the stages really looked like until they got to them. There was no pre-walk.
Yep. Yeah, there's no walkthrough. They could look from the back of the berms if they wanted to. We kind of discouraged that, but it was this match more than any. It was important to know, one, where you're going. Apparently, no one looked at the map. I made this beautiful map, Mike. Know where you're going, what the stage descriptions are when you get there, and then how to properly complete an obstacle.
Yeah.
And those three things, I think, put you far ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, so that was the RO shoot. We ran the 5K. Our last heat, all of us ran the 5K. So we got to run. We got to drop our gear, which was the best part, by the way.
That was huge.
Yeah. So, again, we shot shotguns in this. Running gun is typically rifle pistol. So we had our shotgun staged over at what we call our competition berms, which were about 1.5 miles into the race.
Uh-huh.
And by that time, we'd already shot 4 stages. So now you pick up your shotgun, and you have a shotgun stage that was all slugs, a shotgun pistol stage, and then a 3-gun stage.
Yep.
And when you were done, you were allowed to, and I really enjoyed this part of the match directing, was like you can set down your gear and run without it.
Except for the armor division, they had to keep the armor plates on.
Correct. That's a very good distinction. But I love telling people that you can do it, because now people are thinking like, well, should I do it? And that's one thing I really liked about the Spartan races. They didn't give you all the information. They allowed you to figure a lot of it out for yourself. And that's kind of like some of the spirit that we try to do in this match. But for safety's sake and a lot of other reasons, we ended up having to tell people a lot of what to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you set down your rifle, your 10-pound Galil, you set down your shotgun, you set down your pistol, your belt,
chest
rig, everything. And all you have to do is run back. There's one more stage with a stage gun. That was a good feeling to drop all that shit.
You felt like a new person.
You did.
When you dropped all that gear, it was kind of like, man, I can do this.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not nearly as tired anymore. Let's do this. So, yeah, we set down all our gear, run back, and we have one other berm that's kind of hidden away. We call the Appleseed berm, where they do like a lot of youth shoots and stuff. And we had set up a stage there to shoot the JP GMR 13 PCC stage gun that had a Vortex UH-1 on top.
Yeah.
And that was fun.
That stage was a ton of fun.
Yeah.
I think everybody enjoyed it.
And it was really fast. And that's the thing about running gun is like the stages, like if you were going to like a normal club match, you would walk up to these stages and be like, Jesus, like, really? We're going to shoot this? But when you shoot it in the context of having just run 3 miles
and pulled, sled drag,
yeah,
and Atlas ball and everything
breathing
else.
really hard. Yeah, that was a fun stage.
Yeah.
So then, we ran across the dam and back to the clubhouse, and we were done, except for all the admin stuff we had to do in the evening. And
yeah.
And then up before dawn, and runners came the next day.
Yeah, it came quick, didn't it?
Yeah, it really did, man. I don't think I slept very much at all. So the the main match, I was at the starting line / finish line for 5K. Let all the runners go. Every single runner, told every single one of them where to go, and pointed out survey flags and like, hey, if you're near a survey flag, you can see the next survey flag. And we still had some confusion. And I think that number 1, 2, and 3 that we can do better for next year is better course marking.
Yeah.
And if you think you've got it, you don't have it near good enough. So keep marking some more. So yeah. I don't think you can do enough.
Yeah, we learned a little bit from this match.
Oh, shoot.
That was one of them.
Yeah, that was huge. It was course marking, because I can't tell you, like, I watched a dozen people wander around, which, again, they didn't read the map, but the obstacle descriptions.
Yeah.
That's very important in this match where you don't have it with you. But, yeah, so the day of the match, we wake up, Paul Morgan had breakfast for us, ready to rock, fill up the bellies, and runners start coming in, at 6:30 in the morning.
For
the first heat was letting go at 8.
Yeah.
So yeah, we divvied up people, sent them to their stations, gave a quick RO brief to the wonderful staff that we had from the Ben Lamont Gun Club to help us out.
Did an awesome job.
They did too. They did. It was great. And we impressed upon the staff the need to be nice, be the same for everyone, be as helpful as possible, and make sure everyone's safe. And I think we pulled that off pretty well.
Pulled it off real well. That went really smooth.
Yeah, did pretty good.
Yeah.
So from your perspective, Mike, of running around the entire range, watching runners, watching shooters, watching people swear at obstacles, what'd you think?
It's funny because I was worried, coming up to the match, and I was pretty worried. But the day of the match, all the ROs, all the help, everybody was so friendly and stepped up, and it went very smooth. Very smooth.
Yeah. And from all the runners I spoke to at the finish line, sounded like it went pretty well. The most wait time that I heard of was 5 minutes, and I couldn't figure out a way to find that stat in practice score. Maybe there's a function that I'm not finding in there, but I would like to know if there's like a breakdown of wait time, because from my perspective, like I lost sleep over wait time.
Yeah.
I was super concerned about that. And you remember you and I must have had 1,000 conversations about it. Like, dude, these stages are too close together. We need something to do in between. And you're like, well, what if we make them run over there? Okay. So.
But we should tell people too, what we did is every hour we release shooters every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But we allowed a 10-minute window at the end of each hour to try to make time up for wait time. And that actually worked very well. Because otherwise, at the end of the day, we probably would have been created more wait time.
Yeah, because if you have a wait time on a stage, say it's 1 minute, then the next person waits 2 minutes, and the next person waits 3 minutes, and I'm just making up numbers here.
Yeah.
But stack that over 30 runners, and you've got a 30-minute wait time.
Yeah.
And we were very fortunate that we had enough runners that we could do 5-minute release times in between.
Yeah.
And then we had 10 minutes at the end. And then the 10 minutes at the end also allowed me to give a match brief to the waiting runners. Let them know where they're supposed to go.
For the next squad coming up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we did it where you sign up for a squad, and the lower the squad, the lower your start time, right? And we told people, like, hey, if you're a fast runner, go to squad 1. If you're a slow runner, go to squad 7, and then pick somewhere in between if you're in between there.
Yeah.
Right. And everyone did that really well.
Did it very well.
And I think that we had several people that passed others, but we let all the runners know, like, hey, there's no Cadillac at the end of this thing. It's a random draw prize table. If someone's coming up on you, yield to them and
let them pass.
And I think it ended up pretty well. I didn't hear a whole lot of negative feedback on that.
Ended up really well.
Yeah. And little bit of wait time, 10 minutes at the end of every hour seemed to clear it out pretty well, which is kind of a cool thing to know, especially if you're, listening to this and you're going to put on your own running gun.
Yeah, it worked good.
Yeah, so we should try to do that again if we do this match again. Yeah, I like the extra 10 minutes on there. So what was the feedback you got from the match?
Everything's positive so far. We'll see what the Survey Monkey comes back with too. But everybody had a good time. Hand it to the shooters. Everybody was safe. A lot of the ROs told me about, nobody did anything stupid. It was very, very well coordinated. Yeah,
I think it worked out pretty well. And I didn't know a lot of the shooters too.
Yeah, a lot of newer shooters, runner gunner type guys.
Yep.
And, we're 3 gunners, so we don't know.
Well, we had people that were like dedicated running gunners. I talked to one dude that he's an obstacle racer, and this was his first shooting competition of any time.
Yeah.
Which he only told me after he finished, which I would have given him a little bit more guidance. We had 3 gunners from other parts of Colorado that normally shoot club matches elsewhere, like NoCo, Southern Colorado, etc. We had Hoser come up from the Pueblo area.
Yeah.
We had several law enforcement that came out and have never done a shooting match before, and just loaded up in their duty gear and their duty vest and went for it, which was really cool to see.
Yep, way they go.
Yeah, the way they went. And came back all sweaty and accomplished. By the way, do you think this was the worst smelling clubhouse you've ever been in after a match?
Darn close.
It's pretty smelly, right?
It was bad before the shooters got there. We had it going already.
I know. We might need to do this in the spring just to let people be outside. So Mike, I want to talk about the the money that we raised for charity, and then get into things that we would do differently for next time. But I think this is a good time to thank the sponsors of the match.
Sure, let's go down them.
So Vortex Optics stepped up huge,
very huge.
They're a big supporter of pretty much everything I do as far as the Three Gun Show. So it was very nice to have them a part of this, and so we actually called this the Big Ben Blast and Dash presented by Vortex Optics. We got them on like our award medals for the places. We got them on the race bibs, and very, very grateful to them for everything they provided. JP Enterprises
stepped up a big way at the GMR 13.
Yeah, which is pretty slick. It's a badass stage gun.
It was a sweet gun.
And then we gave it away.
Which we gave it away at the end.
But the guy that won it is super pumped, and he's really happy about that. So that works out well.
Yep.
Palmetto State Armory gave us a couple rifles to raffle.
Raffle off to raise money.
Yep. And Stoger Industries, we worked with Ryan Muller.
Ryan Muller stepped up for us and got us 2 shotguns, one to give away and one for a stage gun that we gave away also. And
yeah, so let's talk about that stage gun that we had real quick. So it was the Stoger Double Defense, which is an over and under 2-round home defense shotgun. It's 18.5 inches.
Yeah.
And we threw a Vortex Venom or a Viper red dot on top. That was so much fun.
It was a lot of fun.
We did basically you had to carry 6 shotgun shells to the second stage, right? And the stage setup was basically 3 boxes, and it was popper, kicker, popper, kicker, popper, kicker. Yeah.
You didn't want to miss your first shot.
No. No, you were hosed if you missed your first shot. But yeah, the red dot was all zeroed in perfect. They were IC chokes, but it was weird when I'm shooting the bird at its apex, because I'm trying to put that red dot in the center like I would with a PCC or a rifle. But it doesn't even need to be anywhere near that thing. It was kind of a mind blower, and by the third one I figured it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was a ton of fun. I think I heard a lot of cursing on that shotgun because people thought it had ejectors, but it didn't. So you had to take the shells out yourself. And they're like, "Oh, that thing's broken." I'm like, "Nope, that's how it is, bud."
The way it is.
Yep. Because in a tactical situation, you can't be dropping your holes, or I don't know what it is, but yeah. And they gave us an M3K shotgun that went to the drawing on the 3K, so that was cool. Sequence Precision gave us a bunch of scratch-off tickets for the prize table, excess sights, Danger Lee Industries, which is a company that's very close to the range, and they do Cerakote.
Yep.
And they actually took a bunch of parts that you've gotten on prize tables over the years, added a lower to it, Cerakoted it up, and then that was a rifle to be raffled as well, which is really cool.
Very cool.
Yeah, they did a great job on that. Of course, we got our buddies Eggleston Munitions that gave us certificates for the prize table, and Chris Eggleston was our stats guy.
Took care of scoring. Big shout out to Chris. That helped a lot.
My favorite guy, because I didn't have to do it.
Yep.
And then Grimm Brothers Brew House gave us delicious refreshments for after the match. Carbon Arms, Bowers Tactical, Burris Optics.
3-gun show.
3-gun show.
Uh-oh.
Just a lot of volunteer time. Yakking into microphones. LAG Tactical came out huge. They gave us a bunch of mag pouches, their MCS mag pouches for the prize table, which were fantastic. People love those. DCF Guns, which is another place here in Colorado. That's Castle Rock, right?
Castle Rock, yep.
Yeah, they put like some full auto certificates on the table.
Yeah, that every shooter got a day pass at the range to go to the range and get a shoot inside. With winter coming on, it works out good.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah.
So I gotta say a fun story about this. So we met a young man named Max that is now shooting 3-gun with us.
Yep.
He's a teenager, right?
Yep.
He's in high school. Cool dude, really nice guy. And one of our local competitors, should I name him or keep it silent?
I don't think you'll mind.
Okay, so our buddy Chad picked up a full auto certificate for DCF guns, and he's like, I've shot full auto before, but I don't think Max has. So he went over and gave it to Max, and so as a 15-year-old, he gets to go get a saw or something like that and mow down a bunch of targets. So exciting.
Yeah, very cool.
That is cool. And then Shooter's World sent us a bunch of powder, and of course, Rocky Mountain Targets captured every single bullet that was thrown down the range, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Mike, you contributed a bunch of targets on the prize table, the cool little springy auto poppery things. Love those things. Those are awesome. And thousands and thousands of hours of your time.
You too, Dave.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a lot of work, but it was a ton of fun, and I think it was overall net good for the community, and I think the people really had a good time with it.
Yeah, and we raised a lot of money. It was for a good cause.
Yeah, so how much did we raise, Mike?
Just over $11,000.
Just over $11,000, and the charity was Shield 616, which is a 501c3. They're a national company. They have like a national charity, whatever.
Yeah.
They have a Colorado branch, Colorado dude. His name is...
They're based in Colorado.
Oh, they're based in Colorado. Okay.
Springs, yeah.
So they have a dude named Chris that came out and hung out with us and got to see what we're doing as far as shooting, tell people about Shield 616 and their mission. And the quick story is that they provide active shooter kits for law enforcement agencies that can't provide them on their own, that don't have the budget, right? So if you want to work with Shield 616, you choose a beneficiary to your fundraiser. You do a fundraiser, and then Shield 616 buys active shooter kits. So we raise over $11,000, and they're going to be buying rifle-plated armor and helmets and IFAKs for Elbert County Sheriff, which is the sheriff that's local to Ben Lomond Gun Club.
Exactly, for the home range.
Yeah, and the sheriff's under sheriff came out.
Yep, came out and watched, and
donated out of his personal funds. I don't know. He gave us a donation.
Yep,
and he's like, yeah, they sent me out here to run this, but they probably should have sent one of the deputies instead.
Somebody a little younger.
Yeah, I was like, well, you can shout at some of these guys to go if you want. Yeah, so that was a fun thing to do. So it was nice to be able to provide. I mean, if you think about what you're doing there, you're providing active shooter kits for your local sheriff. Like this is a small agency, department, whatever you call it, and they don't have like the funding that like Denver Sheriff or Jeffco Sheriff does, right? And they have probably much more land area to manage as well.
A lot. I think they have 10 deputies, and you're talking, God, probably what, 300 or 400 square miles?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we, what we did there gets to provide them with protection in their daily job in the worst case scenario.
We're giving back.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Yep.
Feels pretty good to be able to do that. And every shooter can pat themselves on the back because they had a hand in that.
Yep.
It's pretty awesome. All right, Mike. Things you do differently in the match.
You're first, Dave.
Me first? I'd make the walls higher.
Walls higher, huh?
Walls were too short. Everybody could see over the walls, so everybody could climb them. I would have less stages. It was great shooting it, but it was a lot of commitment to all of our targets. And I think 8 stages just gives you 8 opportunities for backups. and when you lose sleep over that, like I would do, I would put in, 1 or 2 more obstacles and eliminate 1 or 2 stages.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. I thought the obstacle count was good on paper, but when I was running it, I could have gone for more obstacles.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I agree.
Yeah?
Yeah. We'll come up with some new ideas.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
Lift more heavy stuff and burn your grip out before you shoot. That's what it's all about.
What it's all about.
Yeah, so that's what I would do differently. Personally, I would have my shit together as far as my gear, which was difficult, obviously, when you're trying to manage the match as well, which I now understand why a lot of match directors don't shoot. And I would have a better sling than I had. Because my Magpul MS3 or whatever it is, it works great when you're standing, but when you're running, it starts to loosen itself with every single step. And I played with that thing, and I was listening to Brian Ray in my head saying like, oh yeah, I carry this little roll of tape right here in case I need to secure anything. I'm like, shit, that would have been really nice right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just think for me, like, I didn't take the match too seriously from a competitor's side. And so there was a lot of things that I could have done better as far as gear prep and just being prepped overall.
It's different than a regular 3-gun match. There's more to it.
Way more to it.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to carry everything you're going to use for the entire match.
Yeah.
Obviously, except for the shotgun in our case. So from a competitor standpoint, I would have prepared much more for that. Now, one observation I have to make since I brought up the competitor portion was the stuff that I see on Facebook and in talking to other running gunners, they spend 100% of their time on running and practicing running with a vest and running with a backpack and running with a stick.
Yeah.
Hey, how can I make a stick that I can put my sling on that doesn't look like a rifle? So when I run in my neighborhood, it's like, okay, cool. But it's still a shooting match.
Yeah.
And 50% of your score is shooting and only 50% is running. And arguably the largest dude at the match.
Yeah.
Tall and big. Chad's a big dude. He knows that. He won his division. And if we scored it as overall, which we did not, he would have won the match.
Yeah. He was overall highest finisher.
Yep. Would have been if we had scored it that way, but it was only in division.
Yeah.
But he's a badass shooter.
Yeah.
And the guys that ran it the fastest and couldn't shoot for shit sucked. So from a lessons learned and things to do next year, if you're a competitor, spend as much time practicing your shooting as you do practicing your running.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's literally half the score.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you think about it and play the game, you can cut your shoot time down by being prepared when you step in the box.
Oh, yeah.
And I think the guys that did well in the shoot time thought of that.
Yep. Yeah, it's all about, so like you said, 10 seconds matters very little on your run time, but 10 seconds matters a lot on your shoot time.
On a 30-second stage.
On a 30-second stage, yeah. It's huge.
It's huge.
Yeah. So we had one other monkey wrench that we threw into this one, which was we were able to use the long range.
Yeah.
High power range. Goes out to 600 yards. We had a shoot position at, the 50 and 100 yard area, and then targets out to the 500 yard area. So if you do some quick math, about a 400 yard shot.
Yeah, depending where you shot it from, anywhere from 450 to 400.
Yep, and that ate people's lunch because as I've explained ad nauseum on the podcast, we only shoot out to 200 yards in Colorado. And holy crap, the biggest piece of feedback I got from people when I asked about the stage was like, that long range kicked my ass. That long range kicked my ass.
Well, the guys that knew how to shoot it did well.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we had several good shooters, local dudes that didn't shoot this match because of the run portion, and if they had walked it and shot it, they probably could have done really, really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of funny.
Yeah.
People spend way too much time on the run part and not the gun part.
Yeah.
Yeah. So run and gun, people. So
did you run half of it, walk half of it? What was your...
So I ran the flats and the downs, and I walked the hills.
Pretty same here. I thought I could run the whole thing, but I couldn't.
Yeah. Well, I just know from experience, like anything that I've done that was like an obstacle race that was longer than an hour, then I would end up doing the walk the hills, run the flats and the downs. And like any like running race, I've never really had a problem with it because generally they're not on like terrain or anything like that.
Yeah.
But on this, since I had trained all of 0 miles to run the race, that's what I chose to do.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a method that works well for me. So knowing myself on that.
Yep.
Yeah. So what would you do different, Mike?
As far as running it,
Sure.
try to be in better shape.
Yeah?
I thought I was in good shape. Of course, we were a little tired too.
Yeah. After 3 days of standing on the range.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about from match management standpoint?
What would I do different? God, I can't say anything bad because it went so smooth. You know, you had the start and finish ironed out to a T, and all the ROs and CROs did such an awesome job.
Yeah, and we had great staff at the finish lines that were marking people's times, and man, that little finish button in practice score is huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, so DJ from Practice Score helped us out, and he's like, "Hey, you can load everyone's appointed run time in," and that's what we did.
Yeah,
we told people like, "Hey, your run time is 8:10. If you're here at 8:15, that's 5 minutes on your run time."
Yeah, you better be there and be ready because the clock is starting.
And we had 0 people tardy. We had like 2 no-shows and 0 people tardy, so it worked. But then you don't have to start them and stop them. You only have to stop them because you already have their start time. As long as you release them on their correct time, you're good to go.
And you did a good job of that. You counted them down, and
yeah, you gave me like the My First Microphone or whatever the heck it is, like a little karaoke machine. And yeah, we just counted people down, 3, 2, 1, go, and then 5 minutes, and we talked to the next guy, and then 1 minute, gave them their little countdown. But then, when people came across the line, all Chris had to do was hit finish, and then boom, it recorded their time exactly.
We gave each shooter a number too, so you could tell who it was when they were coming in, and worked good.
Yeah. So if after one or if after running one match, we can call ourselves someone who can give out advice, I would say putting number bibs on people is huge because from 100 yards or more away, you can see who's coming.
Yep.
And then we put everyone's number by their name in practice score. So you can just go, 100's coming, go through, find 100, tap 100. And as soon as he crosses that line, you hit the finish.
Yeah.
I would also say that like appointed times are huge. Giving people the time that they're going to run either the day before or 2 days before or whatever it is the only way to do it.
Yeah.
Just starting whoever is standing in front of you would suck. That would be terrible. 5 minutes in between runners and then a 10-minute cleanup time at the end of every hour. If you can afford it in your schedule, I think is huge too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are the things I liked. Now, Mike, what about that shotgun?
Shotgun.
Yeah. We're gonna do shotgun next time. We tried to throw a little monkey wrench in, like, hey, we're 3 gunners, we're gonna do shotgun. Yeah. But the more we got into it, the more concessions and I guess administrative things we had to do to make that happen. One of them being that we had to cart people over to the berms where their shotgun was going to be shot so they could stage their shotgun and then cart them back
to the start line,
which was a pain in the butt.
And then cart them back over to pick up the gear they dropped off.
Yeah. I mean, it seemed like a great idea at the time, but watching your wife just do roundy rounds and get dizzy doing that 1.5 miles from the clubhouse to the berms was, I mean, she did a lot of trips.
She did a lot of trips.
Do you know how many trips?
52.
52 trips.
52 trips back and forth.
Yes, so while I love the shotgun, and one of my biggest complaints about all the matches I shot this year is that there was very little shotgun. I don't know if it's right for this type of match.
I agree. I mean, I think it would be better just to start with 2 guns and finish with 2 guns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you can carry everything you need for the match.
Yep.
Yeah. Sad to say.
Yeah, we put that in the survey. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see what people say. I guarantee that people will say they want to have the shotgun. I bet you $1. You want to bet?
Sure.
All right. Bet you $1. People want the shotgun. We'll find out though.
Yeah.
All right. Mike, I think that covers everything I'd do differently. What do you think?
I agree. Yeah.
Trying to think of anything else. I would start planning earlier, and we planned pretty damn early.
We planned pretty darn good, but still, it snuck up on us quick.
Yeah. The one good thing is we have a lot of the obstacles built, and you retained them all for the club.
Yeah.
So next year we've already got that stuff, and we don't have to worry about the logistics of like, is the weird guy with the Atlas stones actually going to make them? Or and what was the other one that we had? Oh, the walls. Yeah, the walls took a lot of time, but now those walls are made.
They're made and ready to go.
Yeah,
so.
and they're painted, so hopefully they they last a long time. They're also good shooting positions.
Yeah.
Just saying.
We'll have to use them.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so that's all I would do differently, unless you have anything to add.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. I'll add that I would schedule it around Cody, so Cody could come out and shoot with us. So it would have been nice to have him there, because now there's like this open loop. Like, I don't know if it was any good. Cody didn't tell me it was good. I need the validation.
Yeah.
All right. So funny things that happened at the match.
Boy, there was a couple of them.
There was a few of them. Yeah.
I don't know how many ladies out there realize this on the match, but
Yeah, we had a good showing of ladies. How many ladies did we have in the match? Five ladies in the match, and 3K and 5K ladies division.
Yeah.
And they did all the obstacles that we did, only things that you had to carry were just a little bit lighter, except
we won't mention any names, but I sent somebody out to paint the tire.
Right. So the light Atlas stone was painted pink, right?
Yep.
And then the light ammo cans
were painted pink.
Right. And we told all the dudes, like, do not touch anything that's pink.
Touch anything that's pink.
Yeah.
So I sent somebody out to paint the tire, and I told him to paint the smallest tire. Well, he painted the shortest tire, but it was the heaviest tire,
It was
pink.
also the largest in diameter, the thickest walled.
And nobody caught it until about halfway through the match, but I think all the ladies had already gone.
Yeah. And they all flipped it, right?
And they all flipped it.
I know. So literally the heaviest tire on the range was painted pink.
Yeah.
Sorry, ladies. But it's pretty hilarious.
Yeah. But they did it. Got to hand it to them.
Yeah. So my pal Wade was the first runner out on the course. And so he was the first one to finish as well. And talked to him for like 5 minutes. And then he's like, all right, well, I'm going to go help. And he just never saw him again until the prize table. But he was like tire flipper helper guy, because he said he watched so many people go up to that and they had like no clue how to flip a tire. And which is understandable if you've never done it, because
you've never done an obstacle race.
First time I did it, I had no clue either. But I've done it so many times now, there's a method to it. So he said that he was watching the ladies flip the pink tire, and he's like, God, these ladies are really struggling with that tire. And it's the ladies' weight, because, he didn't touch it because it's pink, right? He's like, it's the ladies' weight, and man, they're struggling with that. It's like, God, maybe they need to work out more or something. It's just whatever thought he had. And then somewhere along the line, I think maybe it was you that told him that no, that's actually the heaviest one. And so he went over and picked them all up. He's like, oh, shit. So after that, he used it as a psychology experiment, right?
Uh-huh.
And he would tell anyone who came in the berm, and by this time they're all men, hey, the pink one is the heaviest one. And he said that several guys, like a handful, chose to flip the heaviest tire. Like, oh, that's the heaviest one, I'm going to flip it. And other guys were like, cool, and just flip the light one, right? And so he's like, oh, yeah, okay, well, I'm learning something here. So he kind of used that as like a, little mouse in a maze kind of thing. And he said that one guy came along, and Wade tells him, hey, the heaviest tire is the pink one. And the guy goes, I'm not falling for that. Dave told me if I touched anything pink, I'm DQ'd. Which is a fact. I did tell him that. So that is a man that follows instructions very well.
Very well. He probably got lost, though. But anyway.
Yeah. Good point. But yeah, that was a funny thing.
Yeah.
I cracked up about that. And then, man, people could not figure out what to do with those ammo cans. And it was weird because that was like the very first thing. And
we had it in the stage description. Put the ammo cans back where you found them.
Yeah, and like dudes were putting them on other flags, and it's like, if you could see those flags, how did you get lost later? And Yeah, it was pretty silly. I mean, it's all just small stuff, but it just kind of like, shake your head and laugh. But I've been in those situations before where you're under physical duress and you're trying to figure out what you're supposed to do and you can't figure it out because you're huffing and puffing and like, oh, I'll just put him here because I got to go because the clock's ticking in my head.
Clock's ticking.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good time for sure. Anything else funny that happened at the match?
Well, the one thing I realized on Saturday when the shooters were shooting, remember the 5K, you dropped off your gear underneath the canopy there?
Yeah.
Then you're supposed to run up around the target barn.
Yes.
And back to the front.
Did they just go up the road?
I did.
You did? Mike.
Yeah.
You were there when I was placing the course. Shenanigans.
That's why I pulled myself out of the race.
Yeah, and that is why we DQ'd Mike from the race, from his own race. That's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, well.
It's funny, too, because it would because where you drop all your gear is right by the road where it terminates in the berms, it would have made more sense just to run up that road. But since I'd already placed the flags over there, your brother Craig was like, nah, just put it over there. I'm like, all right. I hadn't done the map yet. It made sense to me.
At the time.
Yeah. Oh, Mike, can't believe you cheated. Like, that's why you almost caught me.
Yeah, probably.
That little bit right there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, that's, I don't know. So there's, with the range, we're dealing with kind of like some logistical things, right? Because to get people from one berm area to another, you have to cover a distance. And so now, if you're doing a 5K, you have to move them around between stages, make them run or something like that, which separates people out and cuts down on wait time. But you've used up a lot of your 5K just getting people there. Mm-hmm. And you already got to get them back to the clubhouse. So now if you make them run around for no good reason, now it's like a 5.5K or a 6K or a 7K, which it's not necessarily a bad thing, but that was one thing I had not anticipated. I was thinking that we were going to have to run people in like circles and shit just to make a 5K, but it ended up actually being much easier than I thought.
It ended up working out good because we ended up like, 5.4 or something like that? 5.3?
It was 5.3, and then the 3K I think was 3.2.
Yeah.
I think. So yeah, both of them were just a little bit higher than the advertised. But yeah, I thought it went pretty well. The other thing I would say, if we're things that we should do better for next year, is I would eliminate the 3K. I would make one division, whether it's a 5K or a 10K, and just go from there. Because I wasn't at the 3K finish, but you said a lot of people said they wish they just run the 5K.
Yeah.
Because then they didn't get to shoot the JPPCC either.
Exactly. That was kind of a bonus.
I know. Well, and we did that on purpose to like entice people into the 5K.
Yeah.
I did not realize how fearful people would be of running a 5K. And so I was telling a lot of people that, no, don't be a pussy. You sign up for the 5K instead of the 3K. And I didn't realize until the day of the race that several people signed up for the 5K because I told them that. And then they were really worried about running the 5K. I'm like, come on, man. It's only another mile or so.
Yeah.
So, but they proved to themselves they could do it because everybody but one dude finished the race. And, yeah, that's what obstacle racing is all about, proving to yourself that you're stronger than you think you are. You got more in you, and you can always dig deeper.
Yeah.
So it worked out pretty well.
Yeah, it feels good inside when you finish something like that.
Yeah.
It really does. Yeah,
we always talk about like prize tables in the shooting sports and stuff, and especially on Facebook, and it becomes a mess. But man, I've run so many Spartan races, and the only thing that I ended up with at the end was a finisher's medal.
Yep, and a shirt,
finisher's T-shirt, and if I wasn't in Utah, they gave you a beer. So like those are the only things you walk away with. But you also walk away with like the pride and self-confidence in knowing that you can do that, and you did do that. It's something to be proud of.
Yeah, it's a personal, be able to finish something like that.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing our runners should take away from this too, is like a sense of pride in that they did do this. Mm-hmm. It was a good accomplishment.
Yeah, I laugh now when I kind of see people talk about some of the 3-gun matches being physical. It's kind of like, try doing this.
Yeah.
This is physical.
Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely physical, and then you got to still have, your slow twitch muscles to jog you 5K and your fast twitch muscles to get you through the stages where you're shooting in and out of ports and crouching and stuff like that. So
Yeah. You got to know how to control your breathing.
Yeah. Controlling your breathing is huge.
Yep.
Big time. And knowing when to break out of your run and into a walk so you can now control your breathing and catch your breath as you're coming up to a stage and
Get
be
your
ready to go.
heart rate back down a little bit.
Yep. That's a big one. Oh, I just thought of something else funny that happened at the match. So in obstacle racing, they let you go in shotguns, right? So it's a heat of 60 people or whatever, and there's like this big boom and there's smoke and they get you all fired up, and then they send you running. And there's dudes that just take off in a dead sprint.
Yeah.
And you always call those rabbits. And then I can't remember if the other guys are wolves or coyotes or if it even matters, but the people that know their pace and don't let other people affect their pace, call them wolves, for example. Maybe coyotes, I don't know. So the rabbits eventually get chased down by the wolves and eaten. That's the whole thing, right?
Uh-huh.
And that's very common. And I've heard that like in the Boulder and Cherry Creek Snake, other races I've done, just normal running races. And people always say like, don't let other people affect your race.
Your plan.
Yeah. Get your pace right out of the gate. And if people are passing you, that's fine. Just let them do it. Don't try to run them down because you're going to run yourself out in the first mile, right?
Uh-huh.
So I jokingly told several people, and most of them were our friends, like people that would get my sense of humor. I told them that the key to this race is going to be getting to the ammo cans as fast as possible. Which, as we described in our first part of the show, like the ammo cans are up this huge hill. They're 500 yards downrange. And some people took me really seriously on that. And I remember, so I used to work out at CrossFit Encounter in Littleton here. And one of the head coach, I guess, the owner, Jesse, he would always joke with us. And he's like, when we would have a run and then a bunch of stuff to do in between and then a run, he's like, the key to this is going to be getting that first run out of the way as fast as possible. And you only do that once before you realize Jesse is lying to you. And that was a joke. But several people took me seriously and they sprinted as fast as they could to the ammo cans. And then they were smoked for the rest of the race. I felt bad afterwards. Like, dude, you didn't really think I was serious on that, did you? So I learned to be careful with my words. That's what I learned.
Yeah.
38 years old, and I finally learned that.
Yeah. Some people don't know you well enough.
No. And even those that do can't tell when I'm joking. Had weird conversations at the bank. Like I went to go buy a pistol one time, and I was like, well, I'm going to negotiate, so I need $500 in tens. And the teller laughed, and she's like, I'm like, no, seriously, I need $500 in tens. And she's like, why do you need $500 in tens? And I gave her the cockeyed look, and I'm like, because I'm going to buy something, and I want to negotiate the price. And then she just kind of stared at me, and I'm like, I'm being serious. I really need $500 in tens. It was like this long, drawn-out, like Saturday Night Live conversation. Is like, I don't know how to express this any more clearly. I'm being serious right now. Because it's hard to tell when I'm joking when I'm not. And I understand that now, and maybe don't accept my advice when it's on running. Whoops.
Yep.
Yeah. So I felt like I set some people up for failure on that one. Hopefully they forgive me. And maybe they won't fall for it next year.
It's funny because I drove back and forwards I don't know how many times.
Mm-hmm.
And the expression on some shooters' faces was like, oh, my God. And other people were having fun.
Oh, yeah.
They were just going at it. So,
yeah, it's incredible when you watch people do that because, like, you've already run a mile and shot 3 stages. Now you're on the walls and people are hooting and hollering and having a good time. And, it was a lot of fun. It was very, very fulfilling. It was cool to do the match. So, anything you wanna add here, Mike? Things that we should do next time, shouldn't do next time? Funny things that happen in the match?
Well, like we talked, probably drop a stage or 2 off, do a 5K. I don't know about a 10K.
Yeah? Definitely do a 5K.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just eliminate the 3K.
Yeah.
Yep. Also, if you lost anything at the match, it's sitting right here. So let me know what it looks like, and I'll look in this little box over here.
Yep, we have a lost and found.
We do. So I think that's all I want to cover on this.
I think we're good, Dave. I think we got it all covered.
All right. Well, once again, huge thanks to the staff that helped us out. The core group of dudes, Brian, Evan, Guy, Wade, and of course you, Mike. Thank you so much for
thank you, Dave, for all your
being
help.
awesome. Yeah,
we got to give a shout out to Bidlomon Gun Club too.
Yeah,
a lot of the people there helped out, and
yeah, we got a bunch of help. When you have like the president and the vice president, standing there, running timers and laying conduit pipe for you and things like that, so people could crawl through it. Yeah, we got very lucky.
Yeah,
with
the ranch manager Bill and BB.
Yeah,
big
holy
help.
cow.
Yeah,
that was amazing. Can I just say one more time, like Bill on that tractor, I was like, dude, I need a path cut from the dam to here, and he needs to follow this fence line. He's like, cool. Like 10 minutes later, like this beautiful path for us to run on. I'm like, damn, that's awesome. All right, now I need to cut a path from here to here. Awesome. So yeah, we had good running paths thanks to them. We had a clean clubhouse thanks to BB. Yeah, I mean, just fantastic. We had so much help behind the scenes that we're very fortunate.
Huge help. We had 2 local firemen out there.
Yep,
keeping us safe in case anybody did go down, and yeah.
Yeah, we did, and they ran the match.
Yeah,
it was kind of cool. The one guy ran the morning and worked the afternoon. One guy ran the afternoon, worked the morning, and that seemed to work out pretty well.
Yeah,
and everyone was fine.
Everything was fine. Nobody got hurt.
Yeah,
everything went smooth.
The one dude got hurt in the RO match, but he's been sending me funny pictures all week, so I think he's all right.
Yeah,
seems to be okay. And I mean that's the most you can hope for, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, so everybody who joined us here, thank you for joining us on the 3 Gun Show and being a part of what we're doing here.
Did we get any questions, Dave?
We didn't get any questions.
No questions.
Everyone just kind of listened and understood what we were talking about.
Cool.
So, yeah, hello to everybody watching at home, and we'll chat with you soon. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Dave.
Thanks for coming and doing the show again, and everything else you've done for the Big Bend Blast and Dash.
Well, thank you, Dave. You helped a bunch.
Thanks, dude.
Couldn't have done it without you.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that. All right, everybody. We'll chat with you later.
All right.
Hey, before you take off, check out the show notes at 3gunshow.com/episode 223 for links to things that Mike and I discussed in the podcast, including all kinds of great photos from the Big Bend Blast and Dash. This podcast is brought to you by Armalite, the original. Armalite rifles put the AR in AR-15. The rifles themselves come with 1-8 twist barrels, match barrels, 18-inch or 13.5-inch with a 15-inch or 12.5-inch handguard, Timney trigger, Luth AR stock, adjustable gas system, tunable comp, a patented tunable comp. This thing's ready to go right out of the box for a 3-gun with no additional modifications other than putting on a nice optic. I myself use a Vortex Viper PST 1-6 when I'm shooting TAC Ops or their Spitfire when I'm shooting limited. Check them out at armalite.com. Quick reminder that if you enjoyed this episode of the podcast, subscribe in iTunes, Google Play, Podcast Addict, or wherever you get your podcast content, so you will always get the very latest. Thank you so much for downloading, listening, and subscribing to the show. I'm Dave Hartman, and I'll see you on the range.
If you are finished, unload, show clear.